This is the view from my deck. Today I captured 6 different moments, 6 different glimpses of the same sky. What started as a bright afternoon slowly softened into a deep blue evening, and then, little by little, faded into the quiet stillness of night. From where I stand, I can see a wide green field stretching out in front of me. The trees stand tall, gently swaying with the breeze, and in the distance there are rolling hills, or maybe small mountains. I'm not even sure what to call them, but what I do know is this: they create a peaceful landscape that never gets old. Every time I step out here, I'm reminded of something deeper, something bigger, something eternal. As I watched the sky change today, I couldn't help but think about how steady God is, even when everything around us is constantly shifting. In the afternoon, the sky was bright and full of light. It felt alive, almost like a fresh start. And isn't that how life can feel sometimes? Full of energy, full of possibility, full of hope. Those moments when everything seems clear and the path ahead feels straight. But then the sky began to change. The blue deepened, the light softened, shadows stretched across the field, and just like that, it reminded me of how life doesn't stay in one season. We all go through moments where things begin to dim a little, where clarity turns into uncertainty, where the path we thought was straight suddenly feels a little harder to see. But here's what stood out to me today. Even as the light faded, the beauty didn't disappear. It just changed. And maybe that's something we need to remind ourselves of more often. Just because things look different doesn't mean God isn't still working. Just because the sky gets darker doesn't mean the day has lost its purpose. As evening settled in, the sky turned into this rich, deep blue. It was calm, peaceful, almost like everything was slowing down on purpose. And in that moment, I felt a sense of stillness, a reminder that not everything in life needs to be rushed, that sometimes God calls us to slow down, to breathe, to pause, and to trust Him in the quiet moments just as much as we trust Him in the bright ones. Because it's often in the quiet that we hear Him the clearest. Then came the night. The sky turned dark, almost black, and everything around me became still. The field was no longer visible. The mountains faded into the background. The trees became silhouettes, and yet even in the darkness there was peace. And that's when it really hit me. Even when we can't see everything clearly, God is still there. Even when life feels uncertain, He hasn't moved. Even when things seem dark, He is still good. Because the truth is, the sky didn't stop being the sky just because it got dark. And God doesn't stop being good just because we go through hard seasons. Sometimes we look at our lives and think, I can't see what's ahead. I don't know what's coming next. I feel lost in this moment. But just like this sky, there is still beauty, even when you can't fully see it yet. There is still purpose, even when things feel unclear. There is still direction, even when you feel like you're standing still. Standing on my deck today, watching this transformation, I realized something simple but powerful. God's goodness isn't dependent on what we can see. It's constant, it's steady, it's unchanging. From the brightness of the afternoon to the stillness of the night, He is the same. And maybe you needed that reminder today. Maybe you're in a season that feels bright and full of hope. Or maybe you're in a season where things feel a little dim, or even dark, where you're questioning what's next, wondering if things will ever feel clear again. But just like this sky, your story isn't over. The darkness doesn't get the final say. And even in the quiet, even in the unknown, God is still working behind the scenes. Sometimes we don't realize how much we need to trust Him until we can't rely on what we see anymore. And maybe that's where faith really grows, not in the bright, easy moments, but in the in-between, in the fading light, in the stillness, in the waiting. So as you watch the sky shift from day to night, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Where are you right now? Are you in the light, the transition, or the darkness? And wherever you are, can you trust that God is still present there? Because He is. He is the sunlight, He's in the evening calm, and He's in the quiet of the night. And just like tomorrow, the light will return again. So if you're in a dark season, hold on. If you're in a quiet season, listen closely. If you're in a bright season, be grateful. But in every season, trust Him, because just like this sky I watched today, everything unfolds exactly as it's meant to. And God is in every single moment of it. I'll never get tired of this view from my deck, not just because of what I see, but because of what it reminds me of. God's goodness, God's faithfulness, and the quiet peace that comes from simply looking up and remembering who He is. So tonight, wherever you are, take a moment, look up at the sky, and remind yourself, He's still there, He's still good, and He's still guiding your path even when you can't see the whole picture yet. And that is something we can hold on to every single day. And now, as the sky grows even darker, I find myself slowing down even more. The deep blue is settling in, and soon it will turn into the stillness of night. There's something about this moment, this in-between, that feels different. It's not quite day anymore, but it's not fully night either. And I think a lot of us find ourselves in seasons like this, not where we used to be, but not quite where we're going yet. In between prayers and answers, in between hope and fulfillment, in between what we understand and what we're still trusting God to reveal. And if I'm being honest, those in-between moments can feel uncomfortable because we like clarity, we like direction, we like knowing what comes next. But standing here watching this sky, I'm reminded that God doesn't rush the process. The sky doesn't skip from afternoon to night in an instant. It transitions slowly, intentionally, perfectly. And maybe that's how God works in our lives too, step by step, moment by moment, even when we don't notice it right away. As the light continues to fade, there's a quiet peace that settles over everything. The distractions of the day begin to fall away. The noise gets softer, and what's left is stillness. And sometimes that stillness is exactly what we need, because it gives us space to reflect, space to breathe, space to reconnect with God without all the busyness around us. It's in these quiet moments that we can finally let go of the pressure to have everything figured out, to stop striving and just be, to remember that we don't have to carry everything on our own, because God already sees the full picture, even when we only see a small part of it. And now, as the sky is almost completely dark, there's a different kind of beauty, a quieter beauty, one that doesn't demand attention but gently invites you to notice it. And maybe that's how God speaks sometimes too. Not always in loud, obvious ways, but in soft reminders, in peaceful moments, in the calm that settles over your heart when you choose to trust Him, even when you don't have all the answers. So as night fully arrives, let this be your reminder that even in the darkest moments, you are not alone. Even when things feel uncertain, God is still steady. Even when you can't see what's ahead, He is already there. And just like this sky, there is purpose in every phase. There is beauty in every transition. And there is peace available to you right here, right now. All you have to do is look up, breathe, and trust Him. Just trust God, because the same God who created this sky is the same God who is guiding your life. And He hasn't forgotten you, not even for a moment. And now the sky has fully settled into night. Everything is still. Everything is quiet. And as I stand here looking out, I'm reminded one last time just how faithful God truly is. Because even though the day has come to an end, it's not really an ending at all. It's just a pause, a moment of rest, a reminder that not every season is meant for striving. Some are meant for trusting. Some are meant for letting go and placing everything back in God's hands. So whatever you might be carrying tonight, whatever thoughts have been weighing on your heart, whatever questions you've been holding on to, this is your moment to release them, to breathe, to rest, to trust that God is already working on what you can't see. Because just like this sky, even in the darkness, there is peace. Even in the unknown, there is purpose. And even in the quiet, God is still moving. So as this video comes to an end, I want to leave you with this simple reminder. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to see the whole path ahead. All you have to do is take the next step in faith and trust that the same God who brought you through today will guide you through tomorrow. So tonight, rest in Him, trust in Him, and remember, no matter how dark the sky may seem, the light will always return. And so will hope, and so will peace, and so will joy. Because God's goodness never fades, it never leaves, and it never forgets about you. So thank you for being here with me, sharing this moment, this view, this reminder. And if this spoke to your heart in any way, take it with you, hold on to it, and carry that peace into whatever tomorrow brings. God bless.